Hi there, it's Cindy once again on Q&A Friday. I guess it's Q&A Thursday for those of you in the United States. First of all, before I even get going today, I'd love to ask, because I don't get a lot of feedback from you guys, and I want to thank those of you that are giving me feedback. There are a few of you, and thank you so much. But I'm wondering, is this helpful for you? If these videos are helpful for you, and if these posts and this group is helpful at all, please let me know, because I need some feedback to keep going. So if you would, just leave a comment below these videos and just let me know. Just give me a thumbs up. A thumbs up is all I really need to let me know to keep going, that the topic is relevant, and that if you have anything you want me to share or talk about, a specific thing, I think that would be fabulous. So I'm going to talk a little bit about listening today. And I think it's a big, big topic. So my intention is to bring in more unity consciousness. That's one of my highest values, that we all come together with respect, with compassion, with understanding. And one of the ways that we can get there as a planet and as a family, because I love couples, and I love love, obviously. I love love. And so that also connects me to couples and also to families. I work with lots of couples and lots of families. And listening helps us to become more unified, more respectful, and more loving, more understanding, and compassionate, all these things that I want more in the world. That's an intention for me. And so one of the skills I'd like to talk about today is how well do you listen? I see a lot of posts in Facebook and Instagram. I hear a lot of people talking at each other instead of really with each other. We're getting triggered, and we're reacting, and we're shouting, and we're becoming quite righteous in today's world. And that is actually creating something that's completely different than unity consciousness. That's creating separation. And I almost feel like we have this war going on. A war unlike any other war we've ever had on our planet. It's a me against you war. And it's kind of scary if you think about it. Is that really what we want? And my question really is do you think there's a power that's creating all of this that wants us to be separate, that wants us to fight each other? Because if so, it's working. Wouldn't you agree? And so my question today is, how well are we listening? How well are we listening to hear, to actually hear what the other person is sharing? And I'm talking about, not only in the world today, which is a huge topic, but also in our families, in our relationships, with our siblings or with our spouses or with our children. How well do you stop multitasking, stop trying to do something else because you're trying to fit two things in while someone's trying to talk to you, and you're not really listening? What if we put everything down and we actually stopped and listened to understand, to listen, to get into this other person's perspective, to get into their world, and to really feel into what they're feeling and how they're seeing something? Again, we don't have to agree with it, but how will we know if it's actually an interesting point of view if we don't share or look at that point of view with them? So how well do you listen? Now, you may be a mask believer and you may be a non-mask believer, but have you really sat down with the other end? If you're a mask believer, have you really sat down with somebody that doesn't believe in masks and asked them why they don't believe in masks? And not to respond, to actually listen. And that's the difference. I find that often we listen to respond. Yeah, but, oh, that happened to me and then. Or, you don't understand this. No, that's not listening. That's having a conversation. And that's a completely different thing. Wouldn't you agree? Conversations are great. Listening to respond is a great thing too, at a dinner party. But when we have a heated subject, when you really have something that you want to get across to someone that you absolutely value, how important. Hi, Susan. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I think it's such an important topic right now. When you have something that's so important to share because you truly value and you truly have something to say, and the other person that you're trying to share it with is just defending themselves and reacting and saying you're wrong and not really hearing you, you know how that feels. And on the other hand, when the other person is actually quiet and they're looking at you in your eyes, in your face, and they're taking it in, and they're asking questions to get to know more because they're curious, how different is that? You know they're actually listening. And then you can have an actual conversation and get to know each other. Now, how would the world be if we spent more time working on that? Again, with each other as a global community, as a family, with our children. If we stopped multitasking and actually valued working on the relationship and being heard and being understood, honest and open and real communication. What would your child think if you actually stopped what you were doing and sat down and really listened to what they had to say next time they had something on their mind? How different might that be for them and for you? Or your spouse. If you really stopped and listened and asked questions to understand. Now, in coaching school, we were taught 3 levels of listening. And I think it's important for me to just add this in here today. I'm not going to take a lot of your time. But the first level of listening is listening to respond, listening to have a conversation. It's a back and forth. It's like a tennis match. Yeah, I said this and he said that, and back and forth and back and forth. You're not really listening, you're conversing. And that's the most common form of listening. And there's also in there is a listen to react, listen to respond, listen to compete, listen to defend. We all know that one too. And it's not really producing positive results when you're just defending and defending and defending. So I want to make that really clear too. Listening to defend actually creates the opposite of unity consciousness. It actually creates more separation, me against you. It's that me against you mentality that I really, it's breaking my heart when I hear it, see it, read it. Now, the second level of listening is actually listening to hear. And that's what we're talking about here. It's not talking back, but it's actually taking in what that other person is saying, really listening to what they're saying and asking questions so that you can go deeper and deeper into what they have to say and what the topic is that they're sharing. That's listening to hear, really listening to understand. And I would love to encourage all of you in the whole world to practice that. And then level 3 is also a really nice form of listening. And it's a listening that I use quite a bit in my practice and in my life. And that's listening to what's not being said, listening to what's between the words, and listening to our intuition and allowing that to guide the questions as well. Really feeling into the energy of the conversation. So if there's an emotion that's coming up, that you can actually speak to the emotion or honor and hold space for that emotion to come up. That's a profound way of listening. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that when somebody listens to you at those levels, level 2 and level 3, it's respectful. It's kind, it's generous, you feel seen, and it's a form of love. It brings us closer together. So, Susan, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So again, I'll keep this short, but leave some, just like Susan is, and thank you, Susan, so much for engaging. Just, if you have any kind of feedback for me, any kind of comments to give to this conversation, I'd love for you to post them below. How well do you listen? At home? To your friends? On social media? How good a listener are you? And how well do the people you care about listen to you? And what would it be like if we all turned up the volume of really intentional listening? And that's another key word. Last week I talked about what is intention. If we went into a conversation, or before we spoke, we had an intention behind that. Why am I going to say what I'm saying? And we really came to a conversation with an intention. For me, it's to build more unity consciousness, to be closer together. And if that's an intention, then your listening is going to automatically change, correct? So I think it starts with setting an intention. What do I desire? Why am I showing up to this conversation? Is it to defend? Is it to dismiss what this other person's saying? Is it to be righteous and tell them how wrong they are? If so, what are you creating more of in the world? And is that really the impact that you want to have? I think it's important for us to all be responsible for the impact that we have with our choices. And so being intentional and being responsible for how we're impacting the conversation with how we show up or don't show up. How intentional are you in your conversations? And how well do you listen or speak your truth from a place of love, respect, and compassion? Just a few things to think about. Notice at home. Notice when you post something on Facebook. And I want to encourage you to keep posting. We need these conversations. It's important for us to talk about what's going on in the world. But it's also important to be heard and to listen and to bring us together. Let's build a world that has more compassion, more respect, more co-creating, working together, and unity consciousness. If you like that, give me a thumbs up. All right, that's all for now. Have a great weekend, you guys, and I'll be back. I'll talk to you next time. Lots of love. And please, give me some feedback. Post. Did you like this? Do you want to know more? I need to get some response. I need to get some feedback to keep showing up for these Friday Lives. All right, good. I love that. All right, thanks, you guys. Talk to you next time. Bye.